Good morning, everybody. This is the fifth episode already of Web's Webinar Wednesday. It's Wednesday morning again. I say hi, my name is Thijs. I'm located in my super home office, still in Den Bosch. So in the chat pane, say good morning and where are you located at this stage, so we know who is joining today. If, in case you didn't know, this is a series of different webinars where we talk about challenges in the commercial process while working on remote during these strange times of COVID-19. So last week we were talking with Vidyard. It was a great session, a great episode, together with Vidyard, the video tool, the video software, on how to use video in your outreaches in your commercial process. While everybody is working on remote, you have to find new techniques, new tactics in order to stay in touch with your existing customer base and your future customers, of course. Today, we have something new to that. We are talking about revealing the future of marketing together with Nelis and Lennert from LinkedIn. So again, great keynote speakers for today. If you're joining for the first time, I will explain some simple rules, what we do in every episode. As you might notice, you're all on mute. So if you have any questions, you can use the chat pane like you just did in order to ask your questions. I will be monitoring all these questions in order to make sure that you get all the to answer all your questions. So feel free to ask your questions anytime and we will get back to you at certain points in the presentation. At the end, there is still some room for some other questions, and if you don't got your answers this morning, you will get access to the keynote speakers or to me directly after this webinar in order to ask your questions if they are not answered yet. That was everything from my end. I'm very curious about what today's topic will bring us. So let's hand over to Nelis. Please, short introduction and welcome to your first Web's Webinar Wednesday.
Wow, thank you for this great introduction. Very enthusiastic.
Of course.
We're also very happy to be here. My name is Nelis van Wiel. I'm going to share my screen. 1 second. Yes, and I work with Dutch clients who are looking to advertise on our platform on LinkedIn. Together with Lennert, we are a team. And what we basically do is we help clients be successful on LinkedIn on the platform. Usually it's B2B. This audience is very, it's in our street. When I see a client is using HubSpot, I'm always very happy because I know that they're advanced in marketing and that they know what they're doing. So really happy to be here, and thank you for hosting us. Okay. First, let's start with an icebreaker. Let's start with the biggest, the best kept secret of LinkedIn. If you can open your app, your LinkedIn app, you can see on your phone. So you can see on the right-hand side in network. If you click network here, then on the right-hand side on the lower end, you see a plus. If you click it, you also see scan QR code. And then you can scan this QR code. This is actually a great feature you can use at events to really easy connect with people at events. But since that's not possible, I'll invite you to connect with us, with all of us, via this way, so we can have a chat later. Do people have questions about it? Is it working, Thijs, or not? Are people replying?
You can know if you have a lot of
Connections.
Connection requests right now, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see them coming already. So it's working.
It's working. You have a great tool here.
So, but not a lot of people know this. So that's the first thing I wanted to let you know.
Cool.
Okay, so the agenda for today is basically three parts. The first part is about Corona. So how to anticipate as a brand in these times on LinkedIn regarding Corona. The second one is about targeting or the audience on LinkedIn. So we know that a lot of companies are active on events, and I can show you a little bit on how you can reach the same audience when events are not possible and how it works on LinkedIn. And the third piece is for Lennert. Lennert is going to present something about content as well, how to best practices for content and how to really be successful with content on LinkedIn. What does the audience want to see? First, a little bit about LinkedIn. Of course, LinkedIn is a professional network. Everyone knows it. But what not a lot of people realize is the mindset of people that are going to LinkedIn. So people go to LinkedIn not to spend time as in a personal network, but invest time. So they're looking for ways to enhance their career, to grow their business, to be a better professional, and that's, I think, a very important thing to keep in mind if you start advertising on LinkedIn. That this is the mindset where people are in, and that's a very interesting mindset, especially for B2B. So we are the biggest network in the world, professional network in the world. 66 million professionals, it's still growing. And if you want to target IT professionals or senior level influencers or even C-level, we all have them on LinkedIn. And I think this is the only place where you can find this very specific and premium audience. And also, where they also spend time. So how to anticipate as a brand during COVID-19? First, let's look at this. People are going to places, trustful places where they can trust to get information. And LinkedIn is seen as one of the most trusted platforms in existence. Ranked number one 3 times in a row on the research of Business Insider in terms of trust. So it's really a nice place where you can connect with your audience and give them useful information because they trust the platform. What we see around COVID-19, it's not a surprise, I think, but the engagement rate, the articles about COVID-19 grew exponentially, and now we see a small decline. So this subject was very relevant in March, beginning of April, and it's going down a little bit, but it's still a trending topic. As we can see here, in February, the top 10 was completely different in terms of hashtags than in March and in April. It's basically all around COVID-19 and some other topics. Marketing is getting there, business is getting back, but it's also about working from home. And this is something you can use to step into that conversation. This is what I just said. It's a number one hashtag. Remote work. You can also use safety is an important subject. And this is, I think, very interesting. So brands are using LinkedIn more. We see way more organic activity on LinkedIn. Posting pages, more activity on company page, more activity with lead gen and brand awareness campaigns. So because people are also inside, they kind of use LinkedIn as a way to still communicate to their audience. And this is the top 10 most active industries. So if you have clients in those industries, for example, IT, they are the most active around the subject coronavirus, talking about it, engaging with content. Yeah, so I think there's an opportunity. I don't want to sound like opportunistic, but yeah, business needs to keep going, and this is a way to tap into that. So how are organizations taking action? So I'm going to show you some examples how other brands are working around this new environment. So this is our VP of Talent Solutions. We see that LinkedIn is really used as a way to engage with people, to trust, to find each other, to just be there with your audience. So we see three main principles. We advise on three main principles how you communicate with as a brand on LinkedIn during those times. So the first one is with employees. How do you work with your employees? The second one is lead with trust, and the third one is to adapt to drive business continuity. So how do we continue working also after this is over? The first one is the employees. Within employees, we see three main topics: culture, productivity, and learning. Let's talk about culture. So this is a really great example of what Lego is doing. Lego is, their culture is really important for them. So what they do is they organized a team party online with their employees, and they communicated about it on LinkedIn to keep the culture alive and to communicate to the world that their culture is still alive, even though everyone is working from home. Productivity. So you as a company, you might have tools or might use tools that really helps you being more productive. So for example, Microsoft is communicating about Teams, how they use Teams, and how a new feature really helps them being more productive. So this is basically providing your audience with useful tips around productivity. The third one is learning. So we see an increase in users on our platform, LinkedIn Learning. As an example, Pepperdine University completely switched from an offline format, so in-class training, to completely online. And this is just a trend that keeps on going. So I would like to advise you to do this, just like Webs is doing it right now with all those webinars. This is a great way to communicate with your audience and your employees. So lead with trust. This is the second principle. And trust is like reliability, transparency, and corporate responsibility. First example, the Johns Hopkins University. They are hosting webinars for healthcare workers around COVID-19, where they publish the latest research around this subject. So they are being reliable. They provide valuable information to professionals that really need it without asking anything back. They're just there for their clients, for their audience, with useful information. The second one, the World Health Organization, everybody knows them. They're doing daily briefings on LinkedIn as well. But the third example, I think, is very powerful. BMW is communicating about closing their factories. So that's not very good news, but it is transparent. So they're really open. They say we can't produce cars right now, but we are here for you during this time. The third principle around trust is corporate responsibility. So if you have something you can do for the community, like Amazon, they have a fund for businesses in need. yeah, you can do that and also post something about it or communicate about it. And the last one, adapt to drive business continuity. I think this is a great example. Marriott Hotels, the CEO, so this is about executive leadership. I think this is really a time for CEOs to really step up and to regularly post something about what's happening at their company. So this is a way, this is really a time for leadership to be visible and to be there to let clients, employees know that we are getting through this together and really be there. So this Marriott hotel CEO, even though all their businesses are like closed, he is talking to their clients and employees, even though they know they can't do any business because of COVID-19. Customer centric, of course. So really know what's happening at your clients. What is their problem? How do they work? I think it's very important to just have a phone call with your client and try to find out what the challenges are and communicate about this, so potential clients will recognize what's happening. The last one is the safety and reassurance. So if you have a business and people are cautious to do business with you because of this topic, because of COVID-19, so communicate to your audience that it's safe to do business, like Qatar Airways, for example. They communicate about a filter system that removes 99% of all viruses and bacteria in the air, so it's very safe to fly with them. So it's reassuring. So that's I think a great example of for a brand to communicate that it's safe to use them. So to sum up, and creating content, practice those 8 fundamentals. So never lose sight of your customers and employees. Like in the beginning, think about culture, about keep it alive. Demonstrate trustworthiness, especially in these times. People are looking for trust and also brands they can trust. After this is over, they won't forget it. Bring your brand values to life. So you have brand values. This is the time to show them. Be supportive, be helpful, be there, be human. So don't be opportunistic, but really try to help. Don't try to push business. Listen intentfully, of course. Think about the tone, timing, and the delivery. So I feel now that the debate of COVID-19, that people are getting a little bit more loose in terms of the rules. So really keep an eye on the debate and the tone. Don't be too optimistic. Really look forward while keeping your finger on the pulse. So know that there is a world after this, and keep that in mind. Business need to keep going. So now I'm going to show you 4 free products you can use to do this. So first of all, you have your LinkedIn company page. Of course, more than 45% of all social media traffic to websites comes from LinkedIn. So make use of it. It's a really easy way to display yourself as a brand. It's a very easy way, I think, to show your brand. And this is an interesting one. You can find the topics, so you can select your audience. So, for example, job function, location, industry, and you can see which topics are relevant for that industry. So you can really tap into that. You can really see, hey, what is the conversation my potential clients are in, and you can also be part of that conversation. LinkedIn Live, you have to apply for this, but it works really well. You can organize, for example, a fireside chat or keynote speaker as an alternative for an event, for a live event, but on LinkedIn. And what we see is very big engagement numbers. We see a lot of interaction. Maybe also because it's very new, but it works really well, and I think it's a very good alternative for a real life event. The third one is LinkedIn events. So this is, it's basically organizing an event. Everyone can do it. You can organize a personal event or a company event. You can do it from your company page or from your LinkedIn page, and you can invite people. And from here you can also do LinkedIn Live or share content. I think these are tools you can particularly use now and will be also used after this is over, because people will get used to it. So let's go to the Q&A. I don't know how we are with time.
We're good with timing, so that's good. Thank you for your first insights on this part of the presentation. Regarding COVID, we changed our behavior a little bit, and you see in your insights that there was a lot hashtags of COVID were used. You could say use those in order to be part of that big group, or don't use them maybe, because how do you stand out in those all those messages? And maybe some people are a little bit COVID-19 tired in all the marketing communication, so that's always a balance you need to take, I think. But Edwin is joining us today. Hi, Edwin. Good to see you. And you have a great question, because all your insights, Nelis, gave us ideas on where to react on or interact with or anticipate with regarding our content. So Edwin was wondering, is this something that LinkedIn shares on a monthly basis for us as marketers to anticipate with our content?
Not on a regular basis. But I'm happy to be here also in a month. But if you connect with me, then I can regularly send you information. We have a newsletter, so we have a blog. If you go to our LinkedIn Marketing Solutions website, you can sign up for this newsletter, and you receive it, a newsletter every week.
And there you share also insights and numbers on the content, because we are all on LinkedIn, but you have the real numbers, of course, what's working and what's not. So great question from Edwin.
And you can also use that feature in company pages, where you can see the topic that your audience is interested in.
Okay, can you, or maybe Lennert, while he's waiting, can you share that link in the chat pane with everybody, where you can subscribe for that newsletter?
Okay, maybe Lennert can.
Because it's really, then everybody has it, and we can sign up. Okay, thank you for that. Other question, because I noticed it a lot the last weeks. I'm following this amazing sales guy from the US. Jim Keenan. He is crazy on LinkedIn, one of your biggest influencers maybe in my field of work, of course. And he is going live on a every single night at the same time. I get a push notification, he is live again, and I can start watching it. So that was my first interaction with LinkedIn Live. Can you tell me a little bit more about LinkedIn Live? How can we start using it? Is it for free? Where do we subscribe for it?
Maybe Lennart can also share that link where you can subscribe. Basically, you have to sign up. You have to fill out a form to be able to be a publisher. So there's a team reviewing your request, and then you get access to LinkedIn Live or not.
Okay, so you have to be from a certain authority on LinkedIn in order to be able to go live.
Not an authority, but you have to have a plan, and there's a commission giving you access or not.
Okay,
Yeah.
there was a question of core focus. So Core, I hope you have your answer here. You have to apply actually, so it's not that easy for now, maybe. But yeah, I will dig in deeper as well because I find it really helpful. But you also don't have to be a lot of people going live like every single time of the day.
But
that will be crazy, right?
Yeah, then it defeats the purpose.
Yeah. Okay, Julia is just sending a message or a question. A lot of people say that connecting in person or via groups is so necessary, but from my point of view, it is hard to find groups that really have a good interaction. What do you think about it? So what's the quality of good interactive groups on LinkedIn?
You mean like groups, for example, a marketing group or...
Yeah, like the group section on LinkedIn where you can have discussion or post questions or...
Yeah, what we actually see is that people who are in groups are generally really active. So yeah, it's also a way you can also target on specific groups with advertising. And what we usually see is way more engagement and very active crowd. I think it depends on the specific group you're talking about. Some groups are really active and talking a lot, and some groups are not. So yeah, since we have thousands of groups, it's kind of hard to say which one it is or like.
But it's nothing that groups are labeled like these are interactive or these are not. There's not a rating scale or something regarding groups because more questions are coming in. A lot of people are challenged by which groups do I follow, which don't. There is no general overview of good interactive groups or something.
No, I would follow groups with the most interesting topic for you.
Yeah.
That's what I...
Yeah, sometimes the interactions are still low, because the title is spot on. Yeah. But in the group, nothing happens, and you have to find out in the upcoming weeks because I experienced that myself.
That's true.
Yeah.
Lennert, maybe do you have any tips on that?
Hey guys, I was looking for it, but I cannot find it. But in terms of groups, my best practice is to go in the groups that titles are most interesting for you and to have a sense of how regular something gets posted, or take the initiative to post something yourself and start a conversation. But I add myself to a couple of groups, and then I eliminate those that are less interactive. Also on the newsletter, I was taking a look at it, but I will send it after the presentation, with the presentation, because I cannot find it at the moment.
All right. A lot of questions are still coming in on the hashtags also, and so another minute for this part, and then we continue because we have to keep an eye on the time. There are a lot of hashtags which what you showed. There was one question already. Can we see this on a monthly basis? So that there is the advice to subscribe for the blog. That link will follow in a second or in the after mailing.
I will put it in.
Okay. The other thing is Michael is asking, Michael van der Pas. Hi, Michael. Talking about COVID-19 is it can be a hit or a miss after all. Like, what do you see on LinkedIn? Like, should we use, was actually my question in the beginning, should we still use all these COVID-19 hashtags still, or are people a little bit tired of that? Like what do you see about that regarding all the interactions?
So what we see now is like, it was really increasing, and now the last few weeks it's declining again.
Yeah.
So I think what you just said, like, this subject is getting a little bit worn out, or people are getting a little bit tired of it. You can still use it because it's still relevant, but I would say don't post only about this subject. Just say something relevant. Post something about COVID-19 regarding your own company, and then also something about the business. So don't overdo it. but it is still a relevant subject. Like people are working from home. Maybe people know family members who are in trouble, or so it's still relevant and it's very sensitive. So yeah, if you think you have something valuable to add, you can.
In general, it always is, if you want to be persuasive with your post, you have to put the content in the right context, and that's always not your context, it's always the context from your audience. Try to think from the outside in perspective, of course. Okay, Lennert, thank you. The blog subscription is in the chat pane, everybody. Nelis, please continue with the second part, and everybody will subscribe, so you will get a big increase of subscriptions here.
So the title is not very clear here, but how to target your events audience on LinkedIn. So I want you to meet Hans. Hans is works for Zoom, and he was planning to go to a web summit in June in Amsterdam. It's the biggest tech event in the Netherlands, but of course, because of COVID-19, it's not it's not there. It's postponed to October, and maybe it's even cancelled. I don't know. But marketers, they wanted to basically target Hans. Marketers invest a lot of time and money in stands on the web summit in Amsterdam. So they wanted to meet their target audience, and I think LinkedIn is a good alternative to still meet Hans and to still target him. So this is Hans' profile. As you can see, he is in Amsterdam. He went to school in London. He likes philanthropy, but also the Audi A7. Interesting combination, by the way. And those are all data points we can use as a targeting. So it's a job title, it's an industry, it's a company size. We can all take those factors as a way to target and as a way to find people like Hans. The same goes for company data. So every company that's on LinkedIn puts in a lot of data, and that data we have and we can use for as a way to target. So for example, the industry, the amount of followers, people who work at LinkedIn in this case, interests like topics, hashtags, we can all use that and combine that data to create your audience group. So on the left hand side you see that data. So you see the first party data that members and also companies put on our platform, our 660 million professionals. And you can combine that data actually with your own data. So on the left hand side we can select, for example, industry, we can select country, and also job titles. And on the right hand side we can use website retargeting. So we can use actually visitors who visited your website. Doesn't matter the source. So if they came from Google or wherever, we can retarget those website visitors on LinkedIn. There are data integrations, as Thijs and Anna know. We have a great data integration with HubSpot, so you can also use that data as well. Email contacts. So if you have emails in your email addresses, we can upload them on LinkedIn and target them on their LinkedIn profile. And last but not least, account targeting. I think that is also very powerful. That's why I'm going to zoom into that a little bit more. I think marketing and sales, they meet each other in account-based marketing, I think. What is account-based marketing? So if your sales team have lists of companies they want to target, new business, like a hit list. I once visited a client, they had 100 accounts on the wall, and they were just putting crosses behind it when they hit this new client. we can use this list and upload it on LinkedIn. We can use this list for your existing clients. So yeah, your CRM, we can upload the list and target them, or client activation. So really for upsell and cross-sell. Now, well, you can make it really specific. I also have a client and they created a campaign specifically for one company they want to do business with. So that they're basically targeting all the engineers who work at that company with very specific content. So they were saying, hey, are you an engineer working for this company? Look at what other engineers at this company are doing. And so that was so relevant that, yeah, it worked really well, and it really made the sales team, the life of the sales team, easy. You can also combine industries. So if you have a list of accounts, like that hit list, for example, you can divide it in industries. So make a hit list of companies in the same industries. So you can really tailor the content specifically for that industry and target those 5 or 6 or 10 accounts with very specific content. So that's using your own data, your own industry data. Or you divide the hit list around challenges and solutions those clients have. And this really depends on your business. Yeah, for example, if you sell laptops and also lamps, then you make a list for the laptop clients or possible laptop clients and also for the lamp clients. Stay customer centric, of course. So I think that's very powerful, combining your own data with the LinkedIn data, the 100 accounts, the hit list, in combination with specific functions in those companies. I think that's where the low-hanging fruit is if you want to start with advertising on LinkedIn. Of course, think about the buying committee. Usually in B2B, there's not one person making a buying decision. It's usually multiple people, and they all want to see different kinds of content. For example, if you want to sell a CRM system, you really want to IT department wants to see something else in content than the C-level. IT wants to see that the CRM system is really easy to implement. And for example, the C-level executives, they want to see a business that is for the long term and that can scale easily. So if you are creating campaigns, then take this into account. And if you are able to influence all those decision makers, then the chances are higher that you will reach them. So I think this is it, Thijs. Let's go to the Q&A.
Thank you. You're hitting the right button here because I can see there's a lot coming in. First of all, the integration you mentioned between HubSpot and LinkedIn. There are some questions about that. Somebody didn't know that there is a native integration for that. There is. HubSpot has a marketplace, right, where you have all these certified integrations, and you guys are on there for ads, I thought, for Sales LinkedIn Navigator. Yeah. So there's a lot of integration possibilities.
Yeah, lead gen
forms.
Yeah.
But Cor is also asking if there's a guide or something, a manual, or do you have content which shows this, a step-by-step approach to start with this LinkedIn ads campaign?
Yeah, we have Success Hub, LinkedIn Marketing Success Hub. Lennert, maybe you can share that in the chat. It's also a website where you can find all the relevant information. If you're really looking to start advertising, Lennert and me, we work with clients. We can always schedule half an hour to really assess your business and to to help you getting there in the first steps. There's no you basically create an account and it's pay as you go. So you start advertising, you can always pause, you can always start. So if it works, then you continue, but if not, you can always stop. So it's really
So it's a low entry level. You pay per campaign or per ad.
Per click.
Per click. You have a guide for that, and you offer people a 30-minute free consult if they want to start doing this.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
There was another question regarding this, because does it also work if you want to target like smaller companies within the Netherlands, for example?
Yeah. Yeah,
so it's not only for the big accounts.
No, you can basically upload a list of accounts of companies, and then LinkedIn is finding a match with them. So you only need a company name and company website, two data points basically in an Excel, in a CSV, and then we find this match, and then we target basically everyone who works for that company. And then you can also add layers on top of it. For example, only senior people, or only people who live in Amsterdam, or only, so it's like very,
quite detailed.
Yeah, you can make it quite detailed, but I wouldn't make the audience too narrow, too small.
Okay. So regarding these times, if you want to address these people via LinkedIn, you have given some best practices on how your message should be. What's working, what's not, and your 8 principles. And now you discuss some of the tactics in order to get them more targeted and make sure that it will be visible via the right channels or the right profiles, that it will be visible in timelines of people from your ideal buyer profile.
Yeah, so first I was talking about COVID-19 and content. This is more like, okay, how can we find the people we need? So this targeting. So that's it. And then Lennert is gonna show you some more best practices around content later on. So
Okay, great. Lennert, let's head over to you then. We have about 15-16 minutes left. So I think we're good regarding our time. Thank you, Nelis. Lennert, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Tess. And hi, everyone. So my name is Lennert, and I will take you through the content best practices. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. And we're gonna cover 3 parts. So first is who is my audience. The second is what type of content. And the third one is how to create amazing content with tips and tricks, or we call it as well creative hacks. So let's start with the first one. So who is my audience? And we need to ask this question to ensure you're aligning your content with the needs of your audience. In the next slide, let's start with an interesting data point. So it's remarkably that only 3% of buyers say advertising is relevant to them, according to an Edelman and LinkedIn study. So digital has not brought with it the relevancy that most people expect. And herefore, let's use an example of a brand who is ensuring relevancy very well, and also of which most of us are familiar with or got familiar with lately due to the current situation. In the next slide, we're going to look at Netflix, because Netflix is an example of a brand who is taking personalization and relevance to the extreme. Because there is not one Netflix, there are over 160 million different versions. To go more deeper in the next slide. So Netflix, they tailor their platform right down to the thumbnail that you set for each film or series. For example, if I'm really into romantic movies, my thumbnail for Good Will Hunting will be a couple about to kiss. But if my preference is more around comedy, then I will be served a thumbnail of Robin Williams. So if you think about LinkedIn's platform, this is also massively tailored. There is not one LinkedIn newsfeed. There are 660 million different ones, tailored to each person, the companies they are following, industries they're in, etc. And why am I telling this? Because it's a really key thing to keep in mind, as more and more again, we see marketeers taking one piece of content and blasting it out to all audiences. Sorry, please stay on the previous slide, Nelis. Yes. But if you look within those audience groups, you will see that there are key differentiations. For example, directors and C-level, they care more about the cost and ease of implementation, while the implementers of the group, they care more about the nitty-gritty details of the product. But companies are not tailoring their content. A very simple way is to have separate areas for your different audience segments on your website, for example, for the buyer, supplier, B2B versus B2C, company size, and job function. In the next slide, we can see an example. So yeah, the buying committee exists out of multiple people. So we have Rachel, the researcher, Peter from procurement, and Betsy, the buyer. And we see that most B2B planning is now driven by guesswork. But each of these persons have different things they are looking at when they are making a purchase. Something that helps with this is our website demographics, because we recommend that B2B planning should be driven by data. So as with the example of Netflix and the LinkedIn feed, B2B planning should be driven by data. And within Campaign Manager, so Campaign Manager is a tool to advertise on LinkedIn, we have the website demographics that allows you to do your audience planning based on data. So if you're not familiar with it, this tool allows you to see the audiences that are coming to different pages of your website. And from here, you can see the types of job functions, titles, companies, industries, and countries that are interested in your offering. In the next one, we will take a look on what type of content works well on LinkedIn or in general. Great, so let's start with this. So we've all heard of the saying, if you throw enough mud on the wall, something will stick. So, well, how many of you take this approach when it comes to content marketing? For example, you create a lot of content without having any objective sets and hope one of them will do well. Well, hopefully after today, this will not be anymore. So in the next slide, we can see that there is a difference between content marketing and the traditional marketing. So content marketing is about adding value to the discovery process rather than interrupting it. So it's adding value to the consumer buying journey. And in the next slide, we will see through the funnel how this works. So there are three different stages: awareness, consideration, acquisition, that your target audience is in. So not everyone is in the same stage. Let's take the example of owning a home. So for example, you would consider buying a home, but you are not sure it's the right time because you have other priorities and concerns. So you are in the awareness phase. So at this moment, you would be reading blog posts about top 10 mistakes, an infographic about should I rent or buy. In the next phase, you would like to buy a home, but you're not sure about what to look for in a mortgage or where to start. So you're already getting more into details. This would be more interesting type of content of a blog post on how to tell a good mortgage from a bad one. 15 versus 30-year mortgage, what to consider. And then in the last phase, you're in the acquisition phase of the marketing funnel. So you have a home in mind and you're ready to buy a mortgage, but you're unsure about the specific features. So in this case, this set of people are interested in a mortgage calculator, online brochure with consultation offer. And this is an example to show you that not everyone in your target audience can be targeted with the same type of content. In the next slide, we will see as well the funnel. So we have the awareness, consideration, lead generation, and conversion phase. This is more what kind of content. So awareness is ungated, helpful, or entertaining content. As Nelis mentioned, it's to be the thought leader in your industry. The consideration phase, you can show them case studies, also give webinars, brochures. In lead generation, you go for a gated white paper or ebook. So you give them something value in exchange to receive their details. And the conversion, you can offer a free trial, mini tutorial, and discount. A great way to help as a tool in the next slide. So this is answerthepublic.com. Some of you might be familiar with it. So this is great because you can plug in some keywords to find out what audiences are searching for on Google search. And from there, you can build out a consumer journey based on these questions. And you can create an audience-informed content. In the next slide, we can see that this Nelis also mentioned. So this is a great tool as well to understand what information your audience is looking for. You can find relevant content and filter by industry, location, seniority, and function. So once you understand what kind of content your audience is looking for, it's key to match that with what you are expert in. And I know it sounds obvious, but we had a client who was targeting a marketing audience, and they did some research to find out what was important to their audience, and then starting creating content around these topics, such as digital transformation. The problem was that these topics were not related to what this client actually did. They just want to jump on the digital transformation bandwagon. So if you are going to offer thought leadership content, it has to connect with your brand or product offering. Great. Then on the next slide, we will look at the last part, which is some tips and tricks. I will go through this. I will not spend too much time to it, that we leave some time for questions. So I put some tips here. So first of all, visuals are the new headlines. So we see leverage real people or unexpected images that catch the attention. And the next slide, we can see that being consistent with your brand is important. So for example, Sana Commerce and EY, Sana Commerce is using this red overlay and using different images, but you get immediately to recognize that it's the same brand that you have seen before. The next one, we can see that being insightful is great. So give already a data point. If someone learns something from your ad, they will more likely to click through to learn more, and be careful not to feature too much. The next slide is to be concise, be compelling, be clear. And on the next slide, we can see that how to do this. So compelling first sentence, so use a data point, ask a question, and remove all necessary text. The value is clearly articulate why they should care versus just solely what you are offering. A clear call to action, set clear expectations. What can they expect when they click through? And be concise. So less than 150 characters is advised. Then on the third tip is how to use, use video to reach your audience. We see that 88% more also on a website. They spend more time on a website with video. Also with LinkedIn Live, as Nelis mentioned, it's a great feature. So leverage video. In the next slide, we can see that it's great to test with different kind of formats. I would advise using video for the upper and mid funnel, because you can tell a story, you can give more information, but not necessarily use it for lead generation. And then we go to the last tip, which is to commit to A/B testing. So keep testing on what works well and what doesn't. If we go to the next slide, we can see two examples with two same ads, but if you click one more time, we can see that the right one is 53% higher in CTR, because if you click one more time, then they use marketeers, so they call out their audience. So once you have a niche audience, it's great to start with the name of this audience, and they will be immediately appealed to read more. And the last one, this is a funny one, or one I like, is the two same ads. The only thing is that the left version A is performing better because the person is looking towards or facing towards the camera. If you click one more time, then we can see it's 89% increase in CTR. So to finish off, I just have a summarize on the best tips and tricks, so creative hacks. We have a couple of more, so please feel free to reach out to us and we can customize it to your brand. But I will leave 4 minutes, I see, to the Q&A.
All right. Thank you, Lennert. Great insights. Some of them I will use myself because especially addressing your audience in the first sentence, that's quite smart because when you told it, I searched for a couple of my recent posts and the ones where I address the target group in the first sentence, coincidentally, is liked more than another one. So that's funny to see. So thank you for these practical insights and we can start using them today. There was a question, but Anna already answered it. So that's great. So I'll give everybody some, oh, there's another question from Dirk coming in. How can I embed a hyperlink on the image? So in your posts, in your ad, the image is already the hyperlink, right?
Yes, you can either click on the image, which will lead to the website, or you can include a hyperlink as well in the introduction text above your ad.
Yeah, so that's already working, Dirk. 1 second. Oh, sorry for that. Okay, there are no more questions. Great insight on this, that if you face the CTA, it will click better. That's a good best practice I heard earlier. That's always great to use images that way. For now, I would like to thank you two guys for your effort and your input for today. I really liked starting from COVID into some best practices on how to keep relevant, into some tactics and best practices on what's working and what's not using ads. You made a great offer. I want to point it out because I would give everybody the possibility to reach out to you. You said everybody who's joining this webinar can book a 30-minute consult with you on how to use LinkedIn ads. And I also noticed that you have another webinar next week. So if you want to book you guys right now, try to do it this week, right?
Yeah. Just send me an email and I will reply with some short questions and a link to book the appointment. Yeah.
Okay, that's a great offer. Thank you for that. I have a sore throat. Sorry for that. Let me finish then this 5th episode of Web's Webinar Wednesday by saying that we have next week another subject. We have an account executive of HubSpot who will join us. His name is Martijn Verschoor. Great guy. He's a high achiever. He's in the President's Club of HubSpot. And he's the king of working on remote. And what he manages with his team is building a strong pipeline while working on remote whole year. So that gives us a lot of best practices because every sales or commercial professional these days need to build a pipeline by working on remote. So we can learn a lot of that. That's the next episode, the 6th one next week. I would like to thank you guys again. I want to thank Anna and Joep for setting this all up. And I will make one promise to wear another shirt next week because I see my stripes are terrible on camera. Bye-bye, everybody, and see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.